Welcome to a new Aviation Wellness episode by Pilot Technica. Today we are taking a deep dive into something absolutely fundamental, the sleep cycle. It dictates so much about performance and safety, especially in high-stakes jobs like aviation. A lot of people gotta treat sleep like it's optional, just a pause button. But we know better, right? It's the single most effective way to completely reset your brain and body.
Absolutely. And our mission today is really to unpack the science behind it. We need to get into why we sleep, what's actually happening during those different stages, dreaming, learning, all that. And then critically, look at what happens when you don't get enough sleep. How does that impact complex roles like pilots or controllers? And finally, we'll pull out some practical stuff. What's the real deal with maps? Can you actually catch up on lost sleep? That sort of thing.
Okay, let's get into it then, starting right at the beginning. What is sleep? Because it's not just switching off, is it? The biological changes are, well, they're huge, more dramatic than when we're awake sometimes.
That's right. From an evolutionary standpoint, sleep is a massive adaptive benefit. Think of it like this. Sleep is the necessary cost we pay for being sharp and effective when we are awake. It's not passive. The whole process is really dynamic. You're cycling through different stages, which is NREM, which is non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement. This whole cycle takes about 90 to 110 minutes, and you repeat that maybe 4 to 6 times a night.
Okay, so NREM takes up most of the night, about 75%. What's the brain actually doing during NREM, and why is that important for someone who needs to be on their game the next day?
Well, NREM is really about physical maintenance. It has 3 stages itself. N1 is super light, maybe just the first 10 minutes or so. Easy to wake up from. That's also when you might get those sudden muscle twitches, the hypnic jerk. Then you sink deeper into stage N2. This is the main event for NREM, maybe half your total sleep time. And it gets much harder to wake someone up from N2. The brain starts showing these specific patterns, sleep spindles and K complexes.
Sleep spindles, K complexes, what do they do?
Think of them as like internal noise cancellation. They actively help block out external stimuli. It's your brain trying to protect that crucial sleep time, maybe from noises outside or in the next room. Very important.
Okay, makes sense. And then N3, that's the really deep stuff.
Stage N3, sometimes called slow wave sleep. This is absolutely vital for physical restoration. It's really hard to wake someone from this stage, which lasts maybe 20 to 40 minutes per cycle. You see these slow delta waves in the brain activity. And during this time, the body is laser focused on repair work, building bone, muscle, repairing tissue, and boosting the immune system. Real heavy lifting.
So the body gets its maintenance done in NREM, and then the brain kind of takes over in REM sleep. That starts about 90 minutes in.
Pretty much, yeah. That's when the cognitive work really ramps up. REM periods start short but get longer as the night goes on. The last one before you wake up could be up to an hour long. And here's the fascinating bit. While your body is essentially paralyzed, that's called atonia, it stops you acting out your dreams, your brain. It's buzzing. Some areas can be up to 30% more active than when you're fully awake.
That really highlights why REM is so important for things like memory and learning, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. For aviation professionals, REM is critical. It's where memory consolidation happens, processing the day's experiences, locking them into long-term storage. And it's also crucial for emotional regulation. Some call it emotional first aid. It helps process stress, preparing you mentally for another complex, high-pressure day.
Okay, so we understand the how. Let's shift to the so what. This is where it gets, really critical for our listeners. How does not getting enough of this quality sleep rec performance for someone flying a plane or guiding traffic?
Oh, the impact is immediate. You see a definite drop in problem-solving skills, critical thinking, decision-making. It all suffers. And probably the biggest, most dangerous issue is the loss of situational awareness.
Which is absolutely everything in the cockpit or the tower, right? If you can't properly monitor what's going on around you, your systems, the environment, the safety margin just evaporates.
Precisely. You become less effective at developing contingency plans if something goes wrong, and your workload management goes downhill too, partly because self-control diminishes. So planning, prioritizing, scheduling checks, double-checking, all that becomes harder when you're running on empty.
So consistency is key. Hitting that 7 to 9 hour window most nights. If you keep missing it, you build up this sleep debt that really messes with your judgment and reaction times.
That's the ideal target, yes. 7 to 9 hours for most adults. But the aviation industry itself often fights against that, doesn't it? The root cause of so much sleep deprivation in this sector is just the nature of the job, demanding schedules, irregular hours, constant disruption to the body clock.
That's why we need to make sleep a priority. For pilots and cabin crew, it's the constant battle with time zones, jet lag,
Exactly. That circadian rhythm disruption is severe. Our internal clock, it only adjusts gradually, typically only about 90 minutes per day. So if you're hopping across multiple time zones regularly, your body is just constantly out of sync. And night flights, of course, make it even worse. You're forced to be alert and perform complex tasks right when your body is biologically programmed to be asleep.
And such as the flight crews, air traffic controllers, maintenance teams, they face their own set of challenges with shift work.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with schedules that rotate rapidly, or worse, rotate counterclockwise, meaning the start time gets earlier each day. That's really tough on the body clock. And even the work environment itself can play a role. Sitting in darkened rooms to see screens better, that naturally increases drowsiness, especially during night shifts.
It paints a pretty challenging picture. Given these systemic issues, what can individuals actually do? Let's talk solutions, the science backed stuff. You mentioned starting in the morning.
Yes, sleep hygiene really starts the moment you wake up. One of the most powerful things you can do is get about 30 to 40 minutes of natural sunlight exposure early in the day. Even on a cloudy day, outdoor light is vastly more potent than typical indoor lighting for resetting that internal clock.
Because light basically slams the brakes on melatonin production, the darkness hormone.
Exactly that. Light suppresses melatonin, signals wake up, darkness allows it to rise, signaling time for sleep. The modern problem, of course, is artificial light, especially blue light from our phones, tablets, TVs, LEDs.
Yeah, that blue light's a killer for sleep.
It really is. Harvard research showed blue light can suppress melatonin for twice as long as green light at the same brightness. And it can shift your circadian rhythm by up to 3 hours. It's a major disruptor, especially in the evening.
So managing light is key. What about winding down at the end of the day? You can't just flick a switch and be asleep.
No, it's definitely a transition. You need a consistent wind down routine. Things like light stretching, maybe some meditation, a warm bath, or shower. The cooling down after the warm shower helps trigger sleepiness. Definitely avoid stimulating stuff like watching intense TV shows or working right up until bedtime. And try not to have a clock visible in the bedroom. Clock watching just amps up anxiety if you're struggling to drift off.
What if you are struggling? Should you nap during the day?
If you're having trouble falling asleep at night, it's generally best to avoid naps, especially late afternoon ones. You want to build up that sleep pressure, that natural drive to sleep. Napping releases that pressure.
Makes sense. Keep the sleep drive strong for nighttime. Sleep hygiene is essential to fall asleep and maintain a healthy sleep cycle. However, many of us overlook these important factors. What about exercise? How does that fit in?
Oh, it's hugely beneficial. There's a strong two-way link. Regular physical activity generally improves sleep quality, helps you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. And on the flip side, getting good sleep actually promotes healthier activity levels the next day. You have more energy, more motivation.
Temperature is another big one, isn't it? Getting the room temperature right.
Yes, a crucial biological signal for sleep is a slight drop in your core body temperature, about 1 degree Celsius, or maybe 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body needs to cool down to initiate and maintain sleep. So experts usually recommend keeping the bedroom cool, somewhere between 15 and 19 degrees Celsius. That's about 60 to 67 Fahrenheit for most adults.
Okay, cool room. Got it. And diet. Does what we eat matter as much as when we eat?
Both matter, but timing might be even more critical close to bedtime. Generally, aim to finish your last large meal at least 2 to 3 hours before you plan to sleep. Digestion is an active process. It actually raises your core body temperature slightly, which is the opposite of what you want when trying to sleep. Plus, eating late, especially high-carb meals, can cause hormonal issues. Melatonin naturally tries to block insulin secretion at night. If you eat late, you force insulin release, get blood sugar swings, and that can trigger stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Not good for sleep. And high-fat meals close to bed have been shown to specifically reduce that restorative deep sleep and REM sleep.
Okay, so avoid big late meals. Now, before we get into the aviation-specific tactics, let's bust the biggest myth. Alcohol as a sleep aid.
Ah, yes. Alcohol. It's a sedative, not a sleep aid. Big difference. People confuse sedation, basically, being knocked out with natural restorative sleep.
So it might make you fall unconscious faster, but what's it doing to the actual sleep architecture?
It wreaks havoc, frankly. It causes lots of tiny awakenings throughout the night. They're called punctured awakenings. You might not even remember them, but they fragment your sleep terribly. And crucially, alcohol is incredibly effective at suppressing REM sleep. Remember that emotional first aid stage? Alcohol blocks it.
So it undermines memory consolidation, emotional processing, all the stuff aviation pros really need.
Precisely. It messes with your brain's ability to stabilize mood and process the day's events. And hormonally, it's bad news too. It can slash growth hormone release by over 50% and lower testosterone and estrogen levels. Even just a drink or two can significantly impact REM.
Okay, myth busted. Alcohol is out. So, knowing all this, how does someone in aviation dealing with crazy schedules and jet lag actually apply this? The standard advice of keep a regular bedtime just doesn't work.
Right, we need more specialized tools for this unique challenge. It requires a proactive, really strategic approach. First, it helps to understand a bit about the underlying biology. There is a chemical called adenosine that builds up in your brain the longer you're awake. Think of it as a sleep pressure gauge.
So that's what makes you feel progressively sleepier.
Exactly, that's the sleep pressure. And caffeine. It works by literally blocking the receptors in your brain that detect adenosine. It masks the sleepiness, but the pressure is still building underneath.
You also mentioned chronotypes. What's that about?
Your chronotype is basically your natural, genetically determined tendency towards being a morning person, an evening person, or somewhere in between, a morning lark or a night owl. Most people are intermediate, but knowing your type can be helpful. If you have any flexibility, trying to align demanding tasks or rest periods with your natural peaks and troughs can make a real difference to performance and just feeling better.
So let's talk specific strategies for those wild schedules. How do you really tackle jet lag beyond just, hoping for the best?
There is no magic formula. It depends on several factors, such as the duration of your stay at the destination. If your stay is short, you might consider maintaining your home time zone during the layover. This approach can help you manage your circadian rhythm. Light exposure is your most powerful tool. If you arrive during the day and it's nighttime at home, wear sunglasses and steer clear of bright lights. Head straight to bed and ensure all lights in the room are blocked. Maintain your daily routine, including meal and workout times, as closely aligned with your time zone as possible. If you want to adjust to the new time zone, you might consider doing the opposite. Use bright light, ideally sunlight, strategically when you arrive at your destination during their daytime to help reset your clock faster. And conversely, wear sunglasses or avoid bright light when it's nighttime there, even if your body thinks it's daytime. You can also try pre-adjusting before you even leave. Shift your bedtime and wake time by an hour or two towards the destination time zone for a few days beforehand. It gives your body a head start.
Okay, pre-adjustment and light management. What about managing fatigue during, say, a block of really demanding consecutive shifts or long-haul flights?
This is where concepts like anchor sleep come in. Even if you can't get a full night's sleep consistently, try to protect a core, consistent 4-hour sleep window every day, for example. Always sleep between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. local time, no matter what. That helps stabilize your circadian rhythm. Another tactic is sleep banking. This means deliberately getting extra sleep, either longer nights or naps in the days leading up to a period of expected sleep loss. You're essentially building up a bit of resilience.
Sleep banking, I like that. And naps during flights or shifts, are they actually effective?
Yes, strategic napping is very effective. Short naps, around 20 to 30 minutes, can provide significant boosts in alertness and performance without making you groggy afterwards. That grogginess is called sleep inertia, usually happens after longer apps. Controlled rest periods, sometimes called NASA naps, taken during long-haul flights are now a recognized and essential safety measure.
Of course, a lot of this requires the systems around the professionals to support it, doesn't it? It's not just individual responsibility.
Oh, absolutely critical. We need robust fatigue risk management systems, FRMS. These are data-driven organizational approaches to scheduling and managing fatigue risk proactively. But just as important is the safety culture. We need a non-punitive environment where pilots, controllers, everyone feels safe to say, you know what, I'm too fatigued, I'm not fit to operate safely today, without fear of reprisal. That self-awareness and the ability to act on it is a crucial safety layer. But I do need to end on a really important note, a final warning almost. That concept of sleep debt. You can't truly repay it. You can feel a bit better subjectively after sleeping in, yes. But the underlying cognitive deficits, the performance impacts from chronic sleep loss, they don't just vanish with a couple of long nights. Sleep isn't like a bank account you can just top up after draining it. The damage accumulates. So the real focus has to be on prevention. Prioritizing consistent, sufficient sleep as much as humanly possible within the constraints of the job. Ruthless consistency is the goal.
That's a really powerful takeaway. Sleep debt isn't truly repayable. Prevention is everything. It underscores just how vital it is for everyone in aviation to understand their own chronotype, use these specialized tools like anchor sleep or strategic napping, and really leverage things like light and temperature to maximize rest in those precious windows they get. It's not just wellness, it's fundamental safety. We hope to see you again in the next Aviation Wellness episode by Palitechnica. We offer technical tools designed to enhance your progress and well-being, enabling you to feel stronger, more secure, and in control. Our passion lies in gathering, analyzing, and sharing knowledge to make it easily accessible to everyone. We are the solution you've been seeking in the realm of development for aviation professionals. Subscribe to our website at www.pilottechnica.com and connect with us on social media.